Shut up and sit down.
Festa, you are a pillock. What are you? A pillock.
Yes, folks, I am a pillock. All will be revealed imminently. I may have forgot to press the record button at some point. But anyway, I digress. What we're going to be doing in this episode 5, is giving this a bit of the old Berlin camo. So I'm going to scoot over it and do a bit of pre-shading first. So I just want to check the airbrush, make sure that I'm getting a nice thin line coming out. And I'm just going to go over some of the edges. Now, a lot of this will get painted over with the final coats, but some of it will peek through, and that's what I'm after. So it's going to basically draw around the edges. So it ends up looking, excuse me, a little bit like a patchwork quilt. But it will come together quite nicely at the end. So we're going to just look at shadows and things and areas where rust and dirt will accumulate. Even though these were cleaned daily and at the military bases, they would still get a little bit of weathering on them. So that's all I'm trying to do. Just knock the edges of the panel lines a bit. I can work myself up the edges of the exhaust box, things like that. Anywhere where there's a seam line, a panel line, anywhere like that, just give it a knock over with this. And yeah, it seems to work for me. I like the end result. And then again, if you need a little bit more contrast, you can always do a bit of post shading. So yeah. So we'll just work our way around all the different little areas like so. And this is actually quite a nice relaxing process, I must admit. This is the start of the paint job, and it's where I start to get a feel for the build. So excuse me, just work myself up the side of this storage box. Just quickly up the pressure just a tad, just get a little bit more paint out, and then just knock along the side there like that. There you go. Work my way up there, and then come along just under the exhaust pipe there, just to capture some of that edge there, like so. And work my way across the light cluster, around the edges, and then along the exhaust pipe. Now the exhaust pipe's going to have some rusting and stuff on it anyway, but this just gives it an initial shadow. And just work my way up on the vertical piece there. Do some of that. And I must admit, this has been a really enjoyable build to do, and this is one of a set of 3. I've got the Conqueror, I've got this in Berlin camo, and then I'm going to be doing my next ball tank in Berlin camo, and then I shall put all 3 on a dio. So I shall take this build probably to the end of this episode, and then I'm going to pause, get the ball tank built and filmed, and then I'll come back, put them all on the dio, and then I'll weather all 3 of them to match. So this episode will take it to the end of the Berlin camo and the initial weathering, etc. And then I'll come back to this and weather it along with the others. So this isn't the end of this series. It's just going to be paused whilst I put all 3 together. And then I'll do a continuity one or a build update just around this series off. So bear that in mind, folks. I'll just work my way around the hinges and the little bracketry and detritus. Come along underneath the edge there, just to give that a bit of shadow. And it's just running at about 8 psi, this airbrush. And I've got the Mac valve down. and the end needle stop. So, because I am quite heavy-handed, I know I can just pull that all the way back, but I'm only going to ever shoot a tiny bit of paint. And yeah, you do get a little bit of tip dry on it, so bear that in mind, that you will have to keep manipulating your pressures and cleaning your tip, but it's worth it. And that's all this little airbrush gets used for. I have it set so that I just can come in and do my pre-shades, and yeah, just come back at it at a different angle, give a little bit of darkness. And I tend to go for the brown because I found the black, where I used to do it in black, it used to look a bit too aggressive, a bit overdone, whereas the brown just seems to blend a little bit. Sometimes I do the odd centre of a panel with a little circle of brown or a mist of it, so that it looks like the panel's got a slight indent or whatever. So it can come in really handy if you're doing aircraft, anything like Spitfires, Hurricanes, Lancasters. You can just use a bit of this brown in some of the centres of the panels, and it just gives that extra shadow to the curvature. So bear that in mind, folks. Have a go. So we'll come up the edge of the front there, and then we'll start working our way around this 432. Just nipple off a little bit up the edge there, like so. There you go. And it is just repeating this on all the different panels. And yeah, it can look really effective when it's done. So I'll just go along the edge of that tube there, give that a dark edge, like so, and then start working my way along there. I think I'll do this bit. Come along there. Again, you don't have to be too perfect with your lines, you know, the odd sort of waviness and things like it don't hurt, because this isn't a perfect science. This is, you know, real world stuff. So you don't have to be perfectly straight with everything. Just randomise it. You can come up around the edge of that door there. A bit heavier along the bottom and that edge. Go a bit lighter on the other side if you want. Your tank. Just work my way around. Up the side of the door there. The access panel, like so. Just work your way around. Simple, isn't it? There you go. And again, you can look at it, you can think, do I go a bit darker? Do I leave as is? And the beauty of it is a lot of the top coat will cover this. So don't worry if it looks too exaggerated at this stage. It's the whole idea of pre-shading. You can lose it, or you can go back and post-shade a few areas just to bring it back. So we'll just work our way along the bottom edge. Come along there. Also, see, doing this, if you've got a few, how can we say, slightly moody seams, you can hide it with this. So, work our way around these areas where the mirrors are going to go, light units and all of that, and then your smoke tubes, your canister tubes like that. There's some of that. There you go. Gosh, she's looking mint, isn't she, eh? Whoa. Serious bit of 432-age. Tony Fairclough and Mike Mountain are going to be making cooing noises at this rate. There you go. Work your way along. Just like that. There you go. And you're basically drawing with the airbrush. That's all you're doing. You're just drawing very fine little lines and shades, and treat it as if you would a pencil. Just manipulate it. Just caress the model at the end of the day. Treat her gently and she'll look after you. I'll work my way up the back edge of that door. Come along the front edge, or top edge even. Look at that. There I'll start making cooing noises at this rate. A little bit round there. Come up the way. And then we go around by that latch. Yeah, nice and dark there. There you go. All we're doing is emphasising and embellishing the edges of the model. So let's just sort that out. Tuck that under there, stop that flapping. There you go. And then just come a little bit round the edge of that. And then scoot up underneath the edge of the flare. And just work my way now towards the front corner. Try and round it a little bit like so. There you go. A little bit of shadow under there. Yeah, there you go. Whoa, look at you. Hey. Like a catwalk queen now, isn't she, eh? Get some of that. Right, let's have a think. Because the top of it, being that it's getting direct sunlight, would end up a bit sun bleached anyway. So we'll pop that door back on, like so. And I'm not gluing this at this stage because it's going to be slightly ajar in the diorama. And it's going to be like a Mike Mountain figure having a sly fag next to it. So there's a reason that door ain't on. So we'll just knock the edges of this lot. Work my way over, across the mud flap. Over the edge of the storage there. Some of that. X marks the spot. A nice little bit in the recesses there. Along the back edge underneath there. And just work my way around the door now. Like that. There you go. Scoot myself a bit up the edge there. And then along the back. And just delicately start lining around some of these plates and window panels and door handles, just to give them a little bit of character. There you go. And then we'll do the same with this side, just like that. There you go. Scoot a bit up under there, under the shadow. Come along there. Like that, and then X marks the spot. There you go. So that's a bit of that. Do these little boxes on the top. I still need to print out some stowage for it as well to go into the stowage basket, so I will get round to printing all of that lot out. Add that as finishing touches to the model. And then we can start having a think now about coming up and over the top there, just to give that a little bit of character. I'll just do the edges of these storage boxes like so, and then we can start having a look now at just working our way in towards the doors and everything on the top there, like so. Let's have a think. Yeah, creep up along the edge of there where the engine vents are, like so. Come around the edge of that, and then we'll put a load of it in the engine louvers there, just to give them a little bit of character. Come across there where that spar goes across the top of each one, and then just randomly scoot a bit up there. Nothing too fancy, just enough so that when we go over that with a top coat and then put in panel line washes, it'll all start merging together. And then work my way around these little access panels where the machine gun is, like so. Work my way around the edges of said hatch, like so. Again, don't have to be too perfect. Randomisation's the key. That's that. All around there. And a little bit round by where the shovel is. Creep up there, just so that where the machine gun is, there's a bit of shadow under it. Right, what have we got left? Yeah, let's come round there. A little circular hatch there. Draw around that one as well, like so. And then start working my way along now where these big overlap edges are on these hatches there. Just flick that in the right sequence, like so. Oh, sorry, I smacked my camera out. Right, yeah, that's better. And then we can just start working our way along these lines now. Get a bit of paint through. There you go. All the way along there. And then obviously where the brackets join. And then work my way across because it's got like an angle where the metal folds. So it just gives that a little bit of shadow. And we come round to the last edge there. Do the same there around the smoke tubes. And then work my way along the hinge brackets. Like that. And then we can work our way along them, like so. Just like that. Put a bit of shadow around these edges again. And then nice little line across here. Like so. That's it, and then we can start working our way around the shape then along the outside circumference. There you go. Oh, look at that. Yeah. She's looking nice. I'm liking this build, I really am. Such a beautiful kit to put together. Really is. If you can get one, they are scarce at the moment with the world being on fire. But if you can grab one of these Takom 432s with interior, you are in for one hell of a treat when it comes to putting it together, because it does turn out a really, really beautiful example. And yeah, it's well worth it. They're going for silly money at the moment, folks, so wait your turn. They will come back in supply, and when they do, yeah, you know you want to get one. That just leaves now this little under edge to do. Again, just around the edges, like so. And then I'll do it where the shackles are there at the front there, like that. And all in all, I'm quite liking that, folks. Liking that a lot. Yeah. Have you a bit of that. And again, you can just eyeball it now and see any little bits that you think might need just a little more. And yeah. All in all, have you a look at that. Whoa. Swing. Yeah. And just put the door back on, and I'll sit there and let this all dry and do its thing, and I can sit there and look at her, and yeah, I love it. So she's had time to dry, so I think we're ready now to start putting a bit of the first coat of white on. So I'm just gonna mist the white on there. Not too heavy, just build her up in little thin layers, because you want some of the shading to show through. So I'm only putting a light coat of the white on. And then as the build takes shape, if I need to go back and knock the white on once I've unmasked it, I can always go back and have another go at it with the airy stick or whatever, just to touch it up in a few places. But at the moment, I only want a light coat just to see how the pre-shading shows through. So bear in mind, it may not be the final finished shade of white. So I'll just get a little bit more paint come through, just need to play with my pressure. Because white, obviously the pigment's a little bit bigger with white. So you just need to let a bit more flow through and up your pressure a tad. And I'll just do it in little circular motions, just misting it on. Work my way along the model. I'm going over the entire model with it, and then I shall mask off the different areas of the Berlin camo scheme that are going to be the brown and the grey colours. But initially the whole base of this will be white. So bear that in mind. I'll probably put the door on later on with a bit of contact clear, just to stop it from falling off whilst I'm painting. And then I can pop it off at the end of the paint job. But if I just get a bit of paint on there now, that way if it does fall off, I'm not going to spray inside the model. So yeah, I'll just quickly adjust my Mac valve. A little bit more paint through, mate. There you go. Have you some of that? There you go. And I'm not using me spray booth, but this is a voiceover I'm doing. I was wearing a respirator at the time of painting, just in case the fox is watching and wants to tell me off. Because I was using such a low pressure and it's easier filming on the bench like this, I didn't use the booth for this one. I had my big fans on Fox and all of that, and yeah, everything was super squeaky and safe. Just mist and mist. And I'll come back now and go over this again because I just want a bit more white on there. There you go. And then just build it up bit by bit until you get happy with what you're seeing. There you go. Just quickly get that off with me pinky. There you go. Along that edge. And then work my way up. I'm basically redrawing the same shapes that I was doing, but more so from the middle of the panel outwards. So the paint's brighter in the middle and then it feathers off to the edges where the pre-shading is. So, yeah. That's what I'm after anyway. I'll probably change my mind when I unmask it and go, cool, that white's a bit light. But again, if need be, I'll go over it with the airy stick. It will look like one of the squaddies has painted it then, so we'll have a look. Uncertain at this stage, excuse me, but my thinking at the moment is less is more. I'd rather underpaint it than overpaint it at the moment. Let's just grab me brush of goodness and give the tip a quick clean, because it's getting a bit dry. So we'll just put a little bit of that on there. And then we'll come back and carry on spraying. Yeah, there you go. Just a little bit of persuasion. Just make sure that I'm getting a nice waft of paint out. I might just need to give the needle a quick whiz. Yeah, there you go. Get that off of there. Not the ideal way of doing it, but at the moment, yeah. Needs must. Bosh. And then just pull it back just a tad, like so. There you go. Let's see how that sprays. Yeah. I've used some of that. I think I might go and swap that out. Just try the apex. See what goes on with that. There you go. got a feeling I need to give the other one a good dung out, so let's see how the old apex does. Yeah, it's better. Straight in and straight through it. So it just goes to show you, it's a good airbrush, mate. Good airbrush. Don't need the Mac valve down now. There you go. Some of that. And I'm going to make a needle stop for it because, like saying before, I'm heavy-handed. And I've got an idea with the apex where I might tap the end, see where it's poking out. I might tap a thread in there and put a bolt in there so I can adjust it as a needle stop. Because it's not a fault of the airbrush, it's me. I'm an all or nothing person with my hands nowadays. So when I pull the needle back, it's either fully back or not. And of course, the apex is a progressive needle. And I want to try and catch the 0.3 side of it more accurately. And at the moment, I can't quite do that with my hands. So I'm going to do a bit of modifying. Please don't cringe, Paul. I'll send you a photo. I won't butcher it, but I'm just going to run a tap through there and put a bolt in it. For me, that'll be perfect then. Because I can find the edge of the 0.3, put the needle stop down and know that no matter how hard I pull it, I'm going to be coming through at 0.3. Yeah. Grab yourself one though, folks. You got to do it. Got to grab one. Just put a little bit more paint in there. And then we can come along and do that side then. Let's put a lid on my paint. Sling it out the way, Cole. Like so. Decant that. Bung that back on. Dum da da dum da da dum 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 dum. Shaky, 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 shaky. There you go. And then that's better. Little bit of thinners in there. There you go. Grab yourself a bit of that. There you go. Okay. Just give that a little knock on the edge there. Because this is the slightly thicker model colour paint going through this, so don't be like Festa and put it in there neat. Thin the stuff, yeah. Because conveniently, when I got this airbrush, Paul put in a little thinning chart for me. And yeah, guess who didn't read it? Yeah. Anyway, we should be able to carry on now. I'll just knock over the white. Build it up bit by bit by bit by bit. Sorry for me hand getting in the way. Must try and move the camera around the other side and see whether that films a little bit better. Let's just give that a stir. A little bit more thinner. Do a bit of that. And I've got a bottle of Ultimate Airbrush thinner coming soon, so yeah, I'll be able to get on with that a bit better. I'll just bung a little bit of this in. There you go. Get myself organised. Bosh. Right. Get that nice and thin. And then we should be back to business. He says open, rather optimistically. Yeah. Let's have a look now. Da, 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 da. All part of the fun. It's a nice little process. Trial and error. Hence why the loo rolls there. So, back a little bit on there just to see how that comes out. That's better. Now we can get back to business. Sorted. And it's my bad because my tips are drying before I get a chance to put too much paint on it. It's me, not the brush, at fault. Let's put a little bit more of that in there and see what we can come out like. Give that a wee stirrage. It's not a colour I enjoy spraying white, if I'm brutally honest. Yeah. So, this is the part where Festa admits that he was totally and utterly a pillock. Because I thought I'd pressed record when I put the brown and grey down and I hadn't. And yeah. Apologies. I'm a pilchard. I'm a pillock. Look at me. I'm an idiot. All I did is I masked off little squares, went over the white with grey, then masked off the grey squares, and then went over it with brown. Peeled all the masking tape off, and this is what I ended up with. And I've attached the basket as well. Now, I'm going to go over it with a bit of Starship filth and just start doing a bit of the old panel lining. So you can all send me messages saying that I'm a pilchard and see the big red record button on the phone. That's what you need to press. Yes, I know. So apologies. I will endeavour, when I do the full Berlin paint scheme on the ball tank, which is my next build, I will go through every single layer with you because I owe you one. So I do apologise, folks. Error of my ways and lesson learnt. And moving on, let's just do a bit of the old Starship filthage, shall we? Randomly going around any edges, letting it scoot around. And all this is an old Tamiya glue bottle, extra thin. And I've put in a squeeze of Abteilung 502 Starship filth and a bit of odorless thinner, giving it a good shaky pops, and it's given me a really, really thin mixture of Starship filth that I can apply with a brush, give the bottle a shake, it puts some on the brush, and Robert is one's uncle. You end up with a really, really thin Starship filth oiler. I've got the oiler brushes as well, but this is a nice thin mix, and yeah, saves me having to keep making up little pots with Starship filth in and using a bit and then throwing the rest away. It's like I just bung it in a bottle. So that's all I do. And just work my way through the louvers. Multiple layers of this will go on until I get the result I want. So I'm not trying to do it all at once. It's just bit by bit by bit. And I'm just going to scoot it around like so. All over the front. Because I shall come back at this with the old weathering pencils a little bit later on as well. So it's got all of that fun and frivolity to have. But we'll do that when we've got the ball tank built. Because then they can all be sort of similarly even weathered. But you got to admit, it does look sexy in Berlin camo. Don't know why, that paint scheme really does it for me. I've got a nice drawer full of ultimate pigments as well. Very, very, very kindly sent down to me by Big Paul, Mr. Bretland. So yeah, grab yourself these. These are the ultimate pigments, and you get all your different colours. You get your whites, your ash, your dirt, loads of different colours, moss, light rust, dark rust, all sorts of stuff. And yeah, they really are decent. I've had a good play with these. And if you do find you got balls in there, just give it a bit of the old grindage with your spudger. And what I tend to do is I quickly put a little dab of pigment fixer on and let that start to dry. And then with a totally different brush, I then come into the pot of pigment, and then I'll give that a little bit of a larraping, like so. Bosh, bosh, look at that, straight in there. have you a bit of that. And then obviously as you add more pigment fixer, you can thin it right down, move it about, and yeah. I honestly can't recommend these enough, and it's, you know, it's not Festa saying, oh, because Paul sent me them, they're great. This is me being honest. You know, a lot of the guys use these. Luke Carswell uses them over at Black Rifle, and he put me onto them, and hey, you know, they're made for modelers and used by modelers, and yeah, grab yourself a set, because yeah, I was very, very blessed that Paul sent me down these, and I can't thank him enough. Thank you very, very much, Paul. These are going to be put to really, really good use, mate, and I will be doing a video review of them as well for you, because you was good enough to show a gesture of kindness, so the least I can do is a product review. There you go. Give that a little brush along there, bit of the old fixer, and then just quickly waft some across the front edges of them tracks. And it's that easy. Move it around as you want. Wow. Yeah. Good, isn't they? Whoa, yeah. I can see you're all heading over and grabbing these. I'm going to put a link on my website for UMP retail, so that you can pop over and have a looky-loo, and if you're interested in grabbing some, you can pop along and make yourself a nice purchase. So that will be going up on the Festa 67's workshop website, festa67workshop.com, and you'll be able to get a direct link then over to where you can grab these, folks. So just work them in, round the wheels, all of that, and yeah, putting as much or as little as you want. I tend to sort of put a lot at the bottom and then just whiz it around the wheels as much as I want, basically, you know. It's that easy to use them. And they are really, really nice pigments. They go on well. They dry lovely. They don't float and fly off the model. Yeah. Let's put a little bit of pigment fixer up underneath the mud flaps, and then have some on the lower edges there, like that. Cool, isn't it, eh? I can see Sergeant Home going, cool, look at them lot. Whoa, have you some of that? And yeah, bit of rust can go on. I'll whop that along the old exhaust pipe there, and I should do a light and a dark rust, but I'll do the light first. I'll just dab it in different areas. We're trying to randomise it as much as I can, but yeah, and just whop a little bit under there, and more so there, because obviously that stowage bin's going to be shielding a lot of it from water. So, yeah, look at that. Whoa. Rustier than a rusty thing, isn't it? And then just take any excess off with the pigment brush. Bit of dabbage. Bit of rust. Have you some of that? Come back and do a little touch up there. And then drag down on some of the wheels, some of the edges. Yeah, you get the idea, folks. You get the idea. Gosh, what have we got here? Dum 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 dum. There you go. Nice bit of track rust, I think. Underneath in there. Get a contrast. There you go. Of course, when this dries, it's going to blend with the stuff that I've just put on. So, yeah. Look at that. Bit of dark track rust under there. Look at that. And again, it will dry nice and light. It'll dry a lot lighter than it is at the moment. So, Work my way around there, around the edges of them wheels. Like that. Proper, innit, eh? Proper stuff. Get in there with some of that. Try and get right up underneath now where the tub is. And just bung some pigment up under there. There you go. Underside of the track there on some of the edges. And you're not going for mud or anything like this on this. I'm just going for rust and congealed rust and that. But this is going sort of at a checkpoint without giving too much away about the dio. All will be revealed. It's going to kind of be a bit of a what-if dio. Got an idea running around in my head that I'm playing with. And I want to build the ball tank and get that all done and then put the free on and then just have a look at whether my concept will work. And yeah, it's basically going to be a what if scenario, more so because a ball tank's going on it. So yeah, it's just one of those. And hopefully it gets people thinking, and it it's all history at the end of the day. And yeah, nothing sinister, but yeah, just my little what if scenario. A little bit of track rust in there. And the beauty of this is it's going to contrast really nicely with the UMP pigment that I've put on. So yeah, I'm going to get a nice little effect. And I'm going to go back and just go and do a little bit of dusting with the lighter UMP stuff when I do the weathering on the other two tanks as well. So they'll kind of merge into one. So there's method to my madness at the moment. I'll get the brush a bit of a dung out. And then I'll save some of this pigment into a spare pot. And then I get a combination of different pigments as one then. So I've got loads of empty clear tubs and things like that. So I can add pigment to it. That one there, I can just pour straight onto the bottom of the tank there. And it sticks to it like the proverbial to a blanket. So, yeah, I don't waste anything, mate. I'll give the brush a clean. And then we can start thinking then about clearing up and working out where we're going to leave this episode. I've got to treat me cutting mats to a nice clean and all, because pigment does kill a cutting mat. That's the thing. So you might find that you want to do what Festa does, but in a better way. When you're doing your pigment, put a nice big bit of paper down. It's got a little light to put on here that I've just knocked off. I'll use a bit of the old UV glue on that just to get that back in place. That should retain the light in its position. There you go, look at that. Good stuff, this. And again, I shall put this up on the website where you can get it from, so that you can grab yourself some. Comes in really handy for things like this. You put a dab on, position the piece, turn the pen upside down, switch the light on, bomb. Like that, joined. Don't have to do it for as long as me, but I like to make sure it's stuck on there. So that's that. What next? What next? What next? Let's have a think. What can I do next with it? Could give it a wash, I suppose. Or go over it with a filter. Let's have a rummage in me Warhammer stuff and see what we can find. Bit of Agrax Earthshade or something like that. And just whiz some of that over there. Yeah. Have a looky-loo. See what we can come up with. But in the meantime, I would like to say a big massive thanks to all my lovely patrons for supporting me. and all my lovely YouTube members for joining the channel. You can join my YouTube channel now. Simply click the join button. It starts from as little as 99p per month. When you do join the channel, you get access then to the link for the Zoom off-air 24/7 hangout that me and Mike Mountain run. It's our way of giving something back to those people that are kind enough to support us both. You can also support me on Patreon. Tiers start from as little as 99p a month and go up to £5 a month, or £10 a month, sorry. So there's 3 tiers there at the moment. I have been asked to put in a 4th tier, so that will be appearing soon. So a few people have asked me to put in an additional tier, so I'm going to do that for them. But yeah, in the meantime, if you want to support me direct without Festa having to pay YouTube fees and all of that lot, if you go on to my website, www.festa67workshop.com, go into the support tab and you'll see a direct PayPal link there, and just select what you want to donate to support, and it will do that, and I don't get hit with the 30% YouTube fee. So that's another option for you. You can also buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com or ko-fi.com if you choose to do so. Anything is muchly appreciated, and it all helps me keep my content going on the channel. It's helping me to buy materials, brushes, paints, etc., to continue putting content up on the channel. And it's without you I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. It's that simple. So I can't thank you all enough. So many thanks for all of you. You'll see all your names come up at the end of the video, and my channel members as well. Keep an eye out for the channels as well, the live shows. The live shows are also in the end credits, folks, so feel free to have a looky-loo. But in the meantime, I'm putting a little bit of Agrax Earthshade from the Citadel range into the louvers, just to darken them up a bit. And then I shall go over that with a cotton bud just to pull any excess up that I don't want. Now, the thing to remember with Citadels is once they're on there, they're on there. So gloss coat your model if you can. And then that way you get a tiny tinsy wincy bit of time to quickly whop a cotton bud over it. So that's what I tend to do straight away, bish bash and bosh, and it will get off what I don't need to be left on the model. I'm off camera, apologies, but I've got a magnifying glass of seeingness just to me left that I want to make sure I'm getting everything where I want it to go on. So I use that as a reference so that I can see clearly. And we'll just quickly run over that with a cotton bud like so. And it's beginning to get a bit dirty, isn't it? Yeah. And then just come along the edges like so. Cotton bud of goodness, or makeup pad probably. There you go. Some of that. Pick off the bits of cotton that have quickly stuck to it, and then just work my way around. And the beauty of this stuff is you just slather it on there, and then just pop off what you don't want. And I think Luke summed it up. It's liquid weathering. It's the best way of describing it. And yeah. Work my way around all the crooks and nannies. And then just come back at it. Pull off what I don't want. Quick look under the magnifying glass. Yep. Getting happy with that. A little bit off the front edge of the hatch. Just grab another cotton bud. And then that will be nice and sorted. Do a bit more Agrax across there, couldn't I? Yeah. So let's just quickly get some of that off the edge of that. And then we'll just put a bit of Agrax along the other side of the tank there. Keep calling it a tank. It's a personnel vehicle, isn't it? Or APC, is it? But anyway, there you go. Slather that along there. Dabby-dee-dab, dabby-dee-dab-dab, a dab-dab. Have you a bit of that? And then just quickly move it around with a cotton bud so that it goes in all the little recesses around the hinges, and yeah, it does move around quite nicely. And the secret bin, Festa glossed it. There you go. Hey, bash, bosh. And then see, once this is all gone off, I'll go back over it then with the AK weathering pencil set and pick up any little bits that I just want to add to it, and yeah, slaver it all across the top of there, and then again grab that, just quickly work it around in all the little recesses and areas that he wants to stay, and then just dab it with the makeup pad like that. Yeah. And again, I'd like to say a big thanks to Vincent as well over at Mr. Loft's Model Making, because Vincent kindly sent me this 432 a couple of years ago, because he knew I'd done the Conqueror in Berlin camo, and very, very kindly boxed it up and shipped it over to me from Belgium. So if you're watching this back, Vince, hopefully I've not gone mad and you've hated on it with my inane or inept skills at weathering tanks, but I've had a go. I'm not the greatest armour builder and don't pretend to be, but when the three of them are put together, I think you'll probably agree that they haven't turned out too bad, mate. So many, many thanks for shipping it over. Can't thank you enough, buddy. And hopefully I'll catch up with you soon, mate. So we'll just start thinking now on what else I can do to this, just to make her look suave for the end of this episode. And I shall pause the series at this point, and then I'll come back with a build update for this episode, or this build series, once I've done the ball tank. So just a little bit of touch up on the gun there, a bit of gun metal, just to finish that off. And this is just going around and finessing little bits now, so that when I do come back to it, all I've got to do is the final shades of the weathering. I want to pick up some filters to brush over it as well, so I'll get some of them, and then all three of them will then be done to a similar weathering. That gives me an opportunity then to 3D print some stowage as well. I want to bung some jerry cans in the basket at the top there, some sort of backpacks and that sort of thing. So I've got the STL file, so I'll bung them through my resin printer and add all of them as well. So there'll be a little bit of interest going on the top of it there. I might even put some netting along the side, have some stowage along the side as well. So we'll see how that comes out. But for the time being, I'm just going to use some of this excess pigment just to rub in a few little areas that may or may not have wiped off where I've been handling the model. And we can then put it to one side and await me building the ball tank in Berlin. So there you are, folks. There she is. I'm going to pause it there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for keeping up with this little episodes. Thank you to all my patrons, channel members, people that have visited the website, and I look forward to seeing you for the ball tank series.